What's up, you guys? It's Margot, and today we're going to be talking about how I edit my Instagram, which happens to be one of the most requested videos from you guys, so I'm really excited to film this. So this is kind of like the main screen that I use on my phone. So this is the home screen, and then in the middle is where I keep my main apps, and VSCO happens to be one of those apps. So I'm gonna load that up, and VSCO actually I've started to load some pictures in so we can go through and just edit some of them, and you can see how I edit different pictures differently, and it'll just be super casual, and I'll tell you any tips that I might have and the filters that I usually use and whatnot. So let's start with this really obnoxious picture. So I have a similar picture of this on my Instagram, so I thought I would show you kind of how I did that. So you can see at the bottom which filters I use a lot. I use A6 the most. This is like my go-to, which a lot of people ask me about. And then B1 is my favorite black and white filter just because it's the most basic and you can play around with it a lot. I really like the HB tones for different pictures. And then M5 is really nice for warm tones, so I don't really use that as much on my Instagram, but it definitely creates a nice effect. So I'm going to use black and white for this just because I'm going to kind of mimic what I did on my Instagram post. So I'm gonna keep the black and white all the way up. I don't really know if it makes a difference with black and white. Okay, so this actually does make a difference. That makes me look more tan when I bring it down, so I'll put it somewhere in the middle. Usually I don't keep filters all the way up, but obviously for black and white it doesn't really matter. I'm gonna turn the contrast up a little bit just because I like to turn the contrast up on my photos. I think it makes it look more interesting and just more professional. And then I just like to play around with the lighting because obviously that doesn't look good, but somewhere I think that looks good. So that's kind of a basic black and white edit, but when I do black and white I like to add a little bit of texture, so I do that with using grain. So I think that looks really good. I don't go all the way up because then it just looks kind of dirty, but I'm around the 8.5 area with grain, I think it looks really good. So something that bothers me about this picture is that there's lines and the lines aren't straight. So I'm gonna go into the straighten tool and just use that. And I'm pretty much lining it up where that black poster hits. And then I'll save that. And then since the door kind of just crops out in this picture, I'll crop it a little bit. And voila, I think I'm gonna add a little bit more contrast. And I love how that picture turned out. So next we'll do this picture because I got a lot of questions on a similar photo to this as well. So I used A6 for this picture, and A6 does wonders for this beautiful picture. I love this. So for this picture, I am going to bring the, actually for this effect, since the effect looks so good on this picture, I'm gonna keep it all the way up. I wouldn't normally do, but it's just nice for this. Add the contrast a little bit. Obviously that's too much, but you can tell it definitely adds some really nice tones. Adding the contrast without it just takes away from the picture. So I'll bring it up to about a 2.5. So I'm gonna just play with the temperature. I don't like pictures that are too warm personally. A lot of pictures on my page I keep really cold, and I like to keep the saturation down a lot. So I think A6 does a nice job with the temperature of this color by itself. If I did anything, I would probably bring it up a little bit just because it brings out the skin tones a little bit better. Again, I always like to play with the lighting. I think it looks good a little bit brighter. And then we'll look at the highlights. And I think that picture is adorable. This is one of my absolute favorite pictures from this year. So before and after. So you can see that just those small edits make a really big difference. Let's go into a non-people picture. So this is a picture that I have from an event I had a few weeks ago, and I think it's a really cool picture. So I'm gonna use A6, I think. I always go through and test them. See, M5 looks really good on this. Maybe we'll keep M5 if we can turn the temperature down. I'm just playing along with this as you guys are watching it, but I'm just kind of showing you the process of how I edit them and what my go-to things are. So that's still a little bit warm for me, so I think I'm just going to do A6 for this. Bring it down to about an 8. And then this, I definitely want to add contrast, because I think what's so cool about this is all of the different shoes, but obviously that makes my legs yellow, so we don't want that. So we're just gonna bring it to about a 1, and then we'll play the saturation. So something I'm gonna show you with this picture is I'm gonna bring it into another app. So I use an app called Snapseed, and this is really good for just smaller edits, and if you're very specific about the coloring that you want or the saturation you want in a photo. So I used it for that photo. So I just loaded in the picture, and you can tell that some of the shoes are super dirty, so I'm gonna go into brush and do saturation. So first, this is just gonna take out, this is gonna make all of the whites super, super white because it's taking out all the color. And this will add some nice contrast automatically. So it's not necessarily cleaning the shoes, but since it's making it whiter, it's just giving it a nicer effect. So let me do my shoes as well. So when I do before and after, you can tell they kind of had a pinky tone before, which isn't the end of the world. It was probably the filter that did that, but it's just nicer in my opinion without it. So if you're really a sucker about not having any marks on your picture, then you can go into healing and just really easily brush those things away. So this is usually good for like flat lays, flat lays, because you wouldn't necessarily want in your flat lay like a bunch of dust on a black table or something. So this is a really easy way to fix that. I'm gonna keep what it is right now, and we're gonna bring it into Facetune. So since we do have the legs in this photo and we do have some patching that we can do, I'm gonna be opening a photo. So what I'm gonna do first is just smooth out some of the legs so that it gives it a little bit of a cleaner feel. I'm gonna take the whiten tool and just go along up in this part of the picture and just lighten that a little bit, which I could have also done in Snapseed. I just find that this is gonna be a little more subtle from Facetune. So I think that is a really cool picture, and I would definitely post it on my Instagram. So I'm gonna show you an Instagram trick. So let me save these photos that we've edited. I'm not gonna show you all of them just because a lot of them I do the same process for, so I don't want it to be too repetitive for you guys. See, now I'm going back and I think this picture is a little bit too warm. So I'm gonna go into temperature and turn it down a bit. And for me, I prefer that a lot better. So I'm gonna save these images to my camera roll. And then we have the other image. And this is my Instagram hack. You guys, this is the important part. So it's called Unum, and it's a free app. You can pay for separate features if you want more. I'm just gonna import the 3 pictures that we've just edited, move around the pictures that you have saved in what you've uploaded. So it allows you to see what your feed would look like with certain pictures. And if I wanted to post, say, the picture, my friends and I, even though I've already posted it, we're gonna pretend that I haven't, I can move that around and use tools to see maybe if I deleted a certain picture, which I don't like doing, but I have done before. Say I want to delete this picture because it's a really similar picture, I can just tap on it and see what my Instagram would look like without it. So that's pretty much, these are, oh my god, you guys are getting a sneak peek at pictures I haven't posted. Yeah, that's pretty much how I edit my Instagram. I'm trying to think if I have any other tips for you guys. I'm definitely leaning more towards the neutral colors just because that's what I prefer on my page. I think it just looks better, but I think it's really fun when you have a bunch of different colors and just keep it clean. I use Visco for pretty much every single picture, so that definitely creates some uniform, even if it's different filters. Since I do use the same set of filters most of the time, the pictures just seem to flow together automatically. I love you guys so much. I hope you enjoyed that video. If you have any other questions, make sure you leave them in the comments and I will try to get back to you guys. But yeah, I love you guys so much and I will see you next video.